Rob.
Tony. And I'm Jeff.
We're in gaming.
And that's you.
Hello gamers and welcome back to the end. I'm Rob, of course, or Warshack if you want to call me by my in-game name. And now that we've kind of got to play around a little bit with the new decks, I have crafted us some Yogg Mage, very similar in my opinion to Tempo Mage. The only difference is that we're playing Yogg at the very end of it instead of maybe like a Ronin. Not that Ronin was played a lot, but it no longer caps out as Rag or Archmage being the final kind of guys in the deck. We've got Yogg as the oh shit red button. For those of you who are unfamiliar with our deck guides, we played 3 ranked games in a row. We win all 3. If we happen to lose one along the way, as long as it's not the first game, we get a redemption game. So worst case, we go 3-1. Best case, we go 3-0. You're probably looking at this hand and going, Arcane Explosion, what the fuck's wrong with you, Rob? And the reason being is the new Bubble Up Paladin deck. It revolves around having a field full of 1 HP creatures with Divine Shield, and Arcane Explosion is literally a direct counter to that, and I've seen a lot of that so far, so that's the reason it's in the deck. As if you don't play against the Bubble Up Paladin, then you don't need an Arcane Explosion, but I found today it's about 25 to 30% of the matches I play, so, you know, throwing in 1 card that literally shuts down an entire deck I think is worth playing sometimes. We don't really have the greatest opening hand. Mana Worm, Sorcerer's Apprentice, things like that are really, really nice in the opening hand. But even as slow as we're going, this does seem okay. It's decent against Zoo. Oh, there's our Mana Worm, so we can't really complain about that. Next turn, we can actually Flamewaker Coin, and yeah, that's about it. If we wait one more turn, we Flamewaker, we actually cast a whole bunch of spells, but we'll see what happens here. I wouldn't be surprised if this is, I was gonna say a Cthulhu deck. Very, very popular at the moment, as I'm sure you guys know. So there's quite a few things we can do here. We can play the Flamewaker Coin and hit into this, or we can play the Apprentice. And I think we're just gonna go ahead and Frostbolt this and go face. We can ping that off next turn. I really don't care if he gets the +1 at the end of his turn, so basically he got +2/+2 out of the deal. I would much rather develop 2 cards and just ping it next turn, and we can actually still coin out the Flamewaker. So we can Flamewaker coin, maybe hit it off, and then if so, we can actually maybe Arcane Explosion if he plays something worth like that with Divine Shield, so it's actually worth playing Arcane Explosion. Okie dokie. So we're going to Flamewaker. We actually don't even need to coin, so we can actually save that for turn 6. Okay, so Arcane Explosion, see what happens here. Kills that. Maybe the pings get lucky. The pings are super lucky, and we swing for 6. Next turn we coin into the Summoner, and I think it's GG from there, unless he has some like what is it called? I mean, Hellfire wrecks the board, but not. It still leaves their Flamewaker up. Shadow Flame. But I don't think he's going to have a big enough creature and Shadow Flame the same turn. So we'll see what happens here. Normally I'd say coin for Archmage, but playing a 6-drop that summons a 3/3 is absolutely insane. We could also Tomb to refill our hand, but why refill our hand when we have field control like this? This is a huge tempo play, this Summoner dude. We don't even have to worry about a Doomsayer because it's a 3-cost minion. It's good stuff. We could get an Iron Beak Owl though, which is pretty bad. So there's the Hellfire. Pretty bad. But it's not too bad. We can still refill the field. Deal 2 damage. So 4 in total. Do the Flamewaker. Do we get a charge here? Dreadscale! Fuck me. Flamewaker down. God damn it. Not so good. Not so good. But we are pushing lethal next turn if he doesn't kill these 2 cards. Shadow Bolt. I'm actually not surprised to see that. I'm actually not surprised to see that at all. Alright, so Doomsayer. Also not so surprising. We could, I don't know. So this is, we have 11 damage right now. Or we could go ahead and just go face. Yeah, we're just gonna go face. Actually, we probably should have Tombed before anything, but this is fine. We could be playing Reno. That'd be interesting. So next turn's Flamewaker Fireball if he doesn't heal. Why was I not surprised? Why was I not surprised about this? I just wasn't. Alright, we have 7 mana exactly, so Flamewaker Fireball seems to be a pretty solid play here. he now has to worry about his health as he no longer has Reno. I'm pretty sure a streamer played this deck last night. It was actually a deck I was thinking of playing, was Cthulhu, Reno, whatever the fuck you want to call this, but anyway. So, Forgotten Torch, we can get RNG Master Race lucky, or we could play it safe and go ahead and just polymorph this. Hopefully the pings kill it, and then we can Water Elemental and Swing Face. So we're controlling the board pretty good. We've got our oh shit button, and we also have the infinite fireball loop. So next turn we can Archmage, Arcane Explosion, or we could just hold on to this and use Forgotten Torch with it. I think we might have to... What do I see here? It's one of, so it's not a Shadow Bolt. Siphon Soul? If he Siphon Souls this, we're playing Archmage next turn without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't think he's going to Siphon Soul, but now that you've told me you have a Siphon Soul in your hand by targeting one of my creatures, I'm going to hold back on the Archmage. What could... Corruption? What would you be... Warlocks have a limited amount of removal at their disposal. Siphon Soul being one of the endgame ones. So you've top decked the Beckoner, okay? Are you just gonna do nothing here? The Usher, okay? And the Acidic Swamp Ooze, okay. So Archmage, Arcane Explosion doesn't really do a whole lot. You know he's playing Cthulhu. He could play it next turn, so we want to hold on to the polymorph. If we've Forgotten Torch this, we can hit into this. Or if it pings it. So I guess we've Forgotten Torch this first and see what happens with the ping. Okay. I guess we should have swung into this first. Let's Arcane Explosion and see what happens. Okay. You can say it was a mistake all you want, but I guess we could have killed it first. But the reason being we didn't kill it first is due to the fact that Flamewaker had a greater chance to kill minions the more minions that are on the board, and I did not want Flamewaker hitting face. As long as he doesn't have Cthulhu, I think we're okay here. So he's looking to cycle into the Cthulhu, which makes it so I want to play Yogg, but at the same time I don't want to die. Unfortunately we don't have a spell, so hopefully we can draw a spell to combo with Archmage. Okay, so he's used his Silence on a Flamewaker, which was the card he was playing before, so he didn't actually have Siphon Soul, which is good to note. Arcane Missiles, a really good card to combo with the Archmage. I was really hoping we could kill this Spellbreaker, but it needed to ping it just one time so we could swing our Flamewaker and then hit it. But unfortunately it didn't do that. Oh, we forgot to ping face. I'm retarded. God dang it.
Whoops.
That was my bad, guys. There's the Siphon Soul. So we did have the Siphon Soul. Oh, we also could have pinged this and it would have saved us from... Yeah. I think we might just Yogg here. I feel like oh shit's fine. Most of the time Yogg does well. Sometimes it doesn't do so well. But I think this is a fine time to Yogg. This is a Yogg deck. So. Oh, this actually now turned into something else. Because we can Azure Drake Fireball, but that doesn't seem too good. YOLO Swag Juice. Let's go, Yogg. Do well. Snake Trap. Okay. Draw 2 cards. Okay. Dark Bargain. Okay. Kills both his minions. Okay. I'm down. I'm down. Living Roots. Summon 2 Groots. I'm down. Shadow Ward Death. No. Yogg. Don't hit. All right, hits him. Hits him. Okay. Forge Lightning. Okay, doesn't do anything. Hex. My own creature. So now I get a taunt. Okay. Healing Wave. Don't you dare Healing Wave him. Don't you dare Healing Wave him. Don't you dare Healing Wave him. No. Okay. Well, that's a lot of shit to happen, but nothing really that crazy. I wish Yogg wouldn't have killed himself, but you know what? Yogg. There you go, man. Well, Call of the Wild would have been really good. If he runs 2 Mortal Coils, that's absolutely insane. Wow. That was created by Peddler. Okay. I was about to say, most of the time you don't run 2 with that card. Alright, so we're going to Intellect here, just to see what we can get. Ooh, Tharzin's really good. Double Fireball. I need to save Polymorph for that. We can't fire... We can Fireball and develop the 2-3, or we just Thars and chill on it. Yeah, I think getting rid of that, playing the Flame Juggler, putting something on the board. We could have summoned Snakes, I suppose. So I guess Tharzan would have been the better play. Yeah, Tharzan was the better play. That was silly of me. Because if he attacks, we get Snakes. That's 3 cards more he has to get rid of. We have 2 Fireballs and Tharzan on the board. Now we just have a 2-3 and only 1 Fireball. Fudge. That was bad. Should have thought that through a little bit more. Couple mistakes this game, guys. You're always looking to get better, though. You know what I mean? Like, if you actively catch your mistakes, you'll get better. But, like, some people are like, oh, you've been playing like shit lately? You know what? You don't always play at the top of your ability, man. Like, sometimes, you know, you're mentally tired and you don't come up with the best plays. You just don't see it. Especially now. I mean, the season, or not the season, but the, I think we can play Tharzan here freely. Or we just Polymorph and go face. Alright, so like, as we know, this just came out, and I've been recording a lot. So, I mean, having 8-hour Hearthstone days, along with school and work, you know, some of the games just aren't, they're just not going to be the top tier. But this game's been long as fuck. This is our first game in this deck guide, son. Normally the Tempo Mage, or I should say Yogg Mage, does not go on this long. Emperor last turn would have been a victory, by the way, if we would have played Emperor and saved the Fireballs, and he would have swung and made the Snakes. So, no, oh, Shadow Flame. Should have played around it. And saying you should have played around cards that you didn't know he had is very questionable as well. It's like, oh, you should have played around it. Well, it's not. You don't know he had it. Wish we could play Rag, but we can't. This one's a hard one, guys. We could Fireball face and leave it up to Rag next turn to do what he does best. Right? Or we Fireball that, and then we have the victory anyway. So I think we Fireball this, go face. Because if he doesn't kill our 3-2, we Rag and we win. But if we wouldn't kill our 3-2 and he swings into it, then our Snakes. But you can't leave Brain alive, and we can't Polymorph yet because he has Cthulhu. That's the problem. We have no way to deal with Cthulhu. Just because he played Cthulhu doesn't mean he wins. That's perfectly fine. So he's going to use this whole turn to develop. He attacks a creature. We just won. Now the Snakes, he takes 3, puts him at 12. The Snakes hit, and then he's at 11. No. He's at 9. So he's going to be at 1 HP. Yeah. Oh, no, he's not, because Rag doesn't cost all our mana. Yeah, we win. Exactly lethal. Calculated. Should have popped Snake Traps a lot earlier. Okay, so the first win with the Mage deck. We'll keep it going. Keep it going. Let's keep these victories a-coming. Any other good comments? Any other good comments? Guys, you can double click the 1-pack gold and then write the number of packs you want to buy. Did not know that. I should probably have known that. Okay. I think keeping Flame is fine here. It's a little greedy, but you know, it's a 3-drop, so. We don't even have coin. Maybe we shouldn't have kept it. Oh, we got Mana Worm, so it's okay. He has Frostbolt though. Sorcerer's Apprentice Frost. He kept 1 card too. Gotta keep an eye out on that card. Ooh, this curve is nasty. Got the 1-2-3. Even though we don't have the spells to back up the Waker, just having creatures on the board, and if he doesn't have the removal, we're fine. Only Cthulhu deck I can get not to work. I don't even know what that means. And I'm reading off the comments, guys, if you're wondering what the hell I'm doing. For those of you who are new to the end, just watching this deck guide, I read off the comments that people leave on our YouTube videos and try to answer as many as I can in the middle of doing the gameplay and talking about the deck and why I do what I do. A lot of people getting good stuff out of their 50 pre-order packs. We ordered 253 packs, and I think we got I want to say around 6 legendaries. And you have people who ordered just 3 packs, or not 3, but just the pre-order is 50, and they were able to get at least 5 legendaries, which seems a lot, right? 5 legendaries and 50 packs, that's insane. You guys are just RNG masters. Unfortunately, we can't play the Tomb next turn. Our only option looks like it's going to be the Arcane Missiles. So hopefully he plays like maybe like a Sorcerer's Apprentice, and we can take full advantage of killing that with the Arcane Missiles and a ping. But if he doesn't play anything here, he just does like Arcane Intellects. We're actually in a really bad spot unless we draw a 4-drop. God darn it. Arcane Intellect it is. You have so many cards, you have so many options, and we just don't. We literally have nothing to play. And then Tomb, we have no creature either. We just have the Tomb. So this doesn't look too great. Cheap control decks, please. Unfortunately, you can't really build really cheap control decks. When I think of control, I think of Warrior. Warriors are very expensive decks. The new Druid deck, I don't think is that expensive, though. Cthulhu Druid, I don't think it's that expensive. If he's playing Freeze Mage, oh, he's not. Alright, so Sorcerer's Apprentice, combined with another Arcane Intellect. Holy shit. Well, this guy's, how you say him, he's a draw master. Unfortunately now, oh man. I guess we Azure Drake, and then we force him to have to ping. Or we could just go face and make him make the trades, but I really don't like that. Have you gotten a look at Cthulhu Reno? Yeah, we just wrecked it last game. And by wrecked, I mean, you know, we didn't really win by that much. Is he going to coin here and passive to kill the Waker? That would make sense. Oh, he's going to Arcane Missiles. RNG Master Race! Don't kill the... Oh. Oh. RNG Master Race did not work in our favor. Turn 6, Mana Worm was on turn 1, and he's still a 1-2. Feels bad, man. We actually have Archmage next turn, but I don't think I'll play him. I think I'll go with the Tomb, maybe the Arcane Missiles. We'll see what happens here, but he has so many cards. Armor up, Resident Sleeper. Armor up, Resident Sleeper. Yeah, Control Warrior does that. Here comes the spells. I'm assuming coin into... Why would you coin?
Let's make magic.
Ah, play the Sorcerer and then play a 4-drop Fireball. That's actually pretty good. Good combo. So he's playing Cthulhu Mage? Do we see Cthulhu? We do. Very interesting, my friend. Very interesting. Okay. I wish we had 8 mana, because then we could Arcane Missiles and do some Wombo combos there, but unfortunately we cannot do the Wombo combos. So I think what we're going to do is Kabbalist Tomb, and then we're going to Missiles and see what happens out of there. Or we could just go ahead and Polymorph, keep the board, but I think the Tomb is best. Okay. Both these cost 1. So I'm going to Arcane Missiles first. No, it seems like killing this would be best, right? No, Arcane Missiles first, because then they can trade up with the Mana Worm. Yeah. So now we actually are guaranteed to clear the board. We could actually keep this alive and swing face, and then you would have to swing into it ourselves. Unless you waste a spell on it. But we just ping that off next turn. But don't we want to rag? So if we want to rag this, we need this to die. Even though if we had other things to do next turn other than to rag, I might have done that. Or might have just swung face there. Could have been good. Face might have been better. Face was probably better.
This guy's toast.
Okay. Go rag, kill the 5/5. Good job, Rag. Good job. I'm assuming a Frostbolt, Polymorph, or Fireball here. But that's why we have the Archmage follow-up. Or no, actually, probably Mana Worm, Mirror Entity, Forgotten Torch. That looks pretty good. Wow. Nothing? Nothing to kill this this mighty Ragnaros, the fire god of God. Okay. So what do I see here? We have 2 polymorphs. We got a Mana Worm. This does 3. Nothing to combo with Archmage. Need to take off the Divine Shields from these. So if we ping, we're at 7. And then we have Mana Worm, Mirror Entity. Okay, so this actually works out pretty well. And we're going to kill this for 2. And hopefully it does not hit this Divine Shield. Oh, ripperonis and the chatteronis. That stinks. He's one turn away from playing his brilliance. How you'll say a man Cthulhu, which I'm gonna assume he has it in his hand. Unfortunately, Archmage cannot be comboed with any of our spells, which kind of stinks. We also could have foregoed, you know, killing off one of the divine, or knocking off one of the divine shields, and just killing off something we knew was gonna, like the 3/3, and then, but the damage, you know, it just worked out better this way, I think. It just, yeah, knocking off the divine shields. It was unfortunate. It was a 33% chance that Rag would hit the divine shield. Of course he did, but either way.
I wonder.
So we can trade both creatures into Rag and ping it for 1, which looks like it's going to be his play here. He doesn't know what secret this is, so he didn't want to waste spells, because it could be the counter spell. If he uses his ping, max he can play his 7 mana. He's probably going to play his lowest creature first. He's probably going to cast a spell here. He's going to test the waters with a counter spell, and then he's going to know it's a mirror entity. Beckoner of Evil does not help us at all. That's the lowest creature he could have played. Doesn't do us a ton here. And here comes the spell, I'm assuming, because now you know it's not counter spell. Oh, then the Azure Drake, okay. And he got off the attacks to kill the Rag. Okay, so I think we're going to tome, see what we get. It's actually pretty good. So we have 5 mana. This only does 2. This we don't want to trade into there. Vaporize is never going to come in handy as of now. We could polymorph that, swing into this, swing into that. That doesn't feel that great. So it looks like it's like an intellect.
I wonder.
And then blast. So we would blast this, ping this, swing face. Or we would just fireball this.
What to do? Time runs out on me.
I don't know. I'm thinking.
This way.
Alright. I think this was fair. So as long as he doesn't have Cthulhu. Cthulhu would be bad. But we can just polymorph it. But his Cthulhu's only like a 13 something. So we're going to take like 10 damage. We polymorph it and have weird draw. He uses his entire turn. Okay. Still at 17. Ah, this works out pretty well. Do we just polymorph? And play this shit. Charge minion? Oh, Flame Waker. Nice! So unless he has like double Fireball, Frostbolt, maybe he could be playing Doomsayer and bring the Cthulhu back to his hand. Oh my god. If he's playing Doomsayer, this guy's a god. Bran into more Cthulhu buffs? Nah, probably a draw. We know he's playing Azure Drake. Sorcerer, okay, so here comes the spells. No battle cries though. No battle cries. That must be a fireball. And he's saying if I use it on a creature, I lose out on burst face, but if I gain field control, which is good. Field control is good. Mana Worm, fireball. Arcane missiles. See where it lands. Wow, ping, hit, buff. Pretty good. Alright, solid turn. Okay, well, Bran needs to die. Archmage comes down. We either draw or we put down a secret, and I think secret's good. You know why? Because he doesn't know what secret that is, and he may think it's another mirror entity or a counter spell. If we draw, we don't really need to draw right now. We can draw next turn. He's going to have to deal with that Archmage or he loses. If we drew, he had nothing to deal with. So this, like, we win next turn no matter what, but the secret actually can, you know, make him do some stupid stuff on his part. So, he knows it's not a mirror entity. He's going to kill off the Archmage, which is really smart. We still don't have lethal, though, because this is 12 damage, and he's at 13. Alright, so we draw into any damage, we win. Or you can just give up. Alright, so we've got 2 wins in a row with the Yogg Mage. We just need that sweet 1 more, and then we're at 3-0. This is going a lot better than the Paladin deck guide I was just attempting to do. I was getting pretty salty, guys. I was losing to some very unfortunate things. Anything in the chat, boys? Nothing in the chat. Nothing in the chats. Alright, Rogue. Alright, so this deck, if he's playing the deck I think he's playing, is very, very, very good right now. Like, we're talking poo-poo on my face-o. So, I like this, just because the 2-drop, solid 2-play, and then along with the coin into the elemental is what I'm thinking. But now we have 2-2-drops, coining in on turn 1 to make a 2-drop seems to be a little bit better depending on what he plays here. As I think the water elemental on turn 3 is really strong. We might be coining on turn 2 depending on what kind of... He could be playing Death Rattle Rogue, or he's playing the Dog. Popular streamer was playing a very powerful kind of not Malagos, but a Miracle Yogg Rogue, which was some insane stuff. All right, so coining into Apprentice grants us literally nothing next turn besides having a 3 on the board. So I think we're gonna hold off on playing her. Because, like, let's say we play her and he plays a card that has 3 HP, then we just Frostbolt it. Yeah. So in this situation now, we'll play the... I think we play the Sorcerers. We definitely have 2 of those, and the Flame Juggler can be used on a creature. He also might maybe Oh, actually, we should have played her on Backstab. So Flame Juggler was the best choice, and then he would have to swing his weapon into it and lose a durability on that. Okay, so Farseer. Okay, so it's best that we played Apprentice. So, you know what I mean? You don't really know what they have. So, wow, this actually looks super sick. So if we coined, then the Elemental, we lose a card. But if we Sorcerer's Apprentice, then Mana Worm, and then we get the free costing Fireball, we develop 2 creatures, we buff up a Mana Worm, and now if we draw into a Tomb, it's insane. And we've saved coin. And we know he probably doesn't run the Flurry. So dealing with this amount of tempo on turn 3 is pretty huge. The Pillager, I am assuming I'm just going to polymorph that. And we can also, not only can we polymorph this card, we can play the Flame Juggler and maybe it'll ping it off. Oh, the dream! The dream! We can actually... The dream! We win next turn! Oh my god! The Flame Juggler coming in super clutch! He's gonna deal damage to that, which is fine. Arcane Missiles last turn to bump that up and to deal 3 damage for free seemed pretty good. So, I think we can just summon this. We'll swing into this and then go face for 6. The reason being is we don't want to take our apprentices down to 1 HP as they die to Fan of Knives. Also, his weapon could have killed one. The problem with leaving Thalamus up is Rogue with spell power is really crazy, and I don't want to give him the potential to trade into any of my sorcerers. I'm assuming this is some sort of removal. The Shadow Strike, really solid card in my opinion. He's going to swing his weapon into it to kill it off. Maybe a Fan of Knives. The SI Agent works as well. Oh, he's going to SI Agent that and then swing into there? Okay, I like this play. It kills off a creature. He's frozen, he takes damage, but, I mean, by now... You know, there's not much you can do. So, Water Elemental seems pretty good. We're going to hope that the Arcane Missiles hits this at least twice. It does not. So we're going to actually make this trade here. Swing face, and swing face with that. And we win next turn. So, with that, I'm calling it early because he can't even Yogg at this point if he's playing the Miracle Yogg. We have so much damage in this deck, whether it be Rag, Atome. Oh, he actually is playing the Miracle Yogg. So he's going to backstab. He's hoping right now if he has preps, he can actually sap both creatures back. Game's not over yet. Game's over. So 3 wins in a row with the Yogg Mage deck. Super sick. I made a couple moderate changes to the deck since the first kind of deck testing we did on it. We'll actually go into the deck and I'll explain my thoughts here. Which I think, where are we at? It's right here, RNG Master Race. Okay. So there's some changes from the deck testing that I think went pretty well here. First off, there's 2 interchangeable cards before we get into anything, and that's the Flame Juggler and the Arcane Explosion. Like I mentioned before in our video, the Arcane Explosion is there for that Bubble Paladin matchup, which is a really popular deck at the moment. I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to play against it and we didn't get to use Arcane Explosion, but you know, I only can cover so many games in these deck guides. So with that said, that's why that's in there. So if you don't see a lot of Paladins on ladder, take out the Arcane Explosion, put in another Flame Juggler. Flame Juggler is an insanely good 2-drop. Arcane Missiles and Mana Worm, these are kind of standard in most Tempo Mage decks, along with the Frost Bolts, the Apprentices, the Arcane Intellect. Some people actually only ran 1 Arcane Intellect. I found running 2. Because we know the meta has shifted, there's a lot of aggro decks, but there's also a lot of slow decks out there. Every Cthulhu deck is pretty slow, and because of that slow matchup, you need to make sure you can keep continuously pumping out good spells and have a decent hand at all times. Arcane Intellect allows you to do that. Flame Waker, again, this is just basically a mage staple at this point if you're looking to play some sort of tempo Yogg mage deck, which this is, tempo. This is tempo mage Yogg, whatever. Fireball, Polymorph, interesting enough, running 2 Polymorphs, this is actually can be changed out. I'm not really sure with what. Maybe you could put in like maybe some lower drop creatures or maybe some lower casting spells, but I found the Polymorphs really helping out, again, in that control matchup. This deck does very well against any aggro-based matchup, based on the fact that if you can draw into your Mana Worms, your Jugglers, your Sorcerer's Apprentice, or your mana, like Arcane Missiles, if you just draw well, you'll do well. If you draw really shitty, you're probably going to lose that game anyway. So it's just, as long as you curve out nicely and you have some spells to deal with, you don't even have to deal with everything they play. Just, just making sure you don't take an astronomical amount of damage by turn 3 or 4, you should be alright the remainder of the game, as the whole deck has really good creatures for each mana cost. The Water Elementals, a 4 mana for 3/6 that freezes. That's insane. Definitely a great card. It's not a replacement for the Shredder, as in the old Tempo Mage. The Shredder and the Water Elemental, they kind of went together. The Tome is actually a new kind of card that I put in here. Maybe running 1 of these would be better, and you could actually maybe throw in another Flame Juggler. I haven't really found a perfect match yet, as I've only played maybe 30 or 40 games with this particular deck. So running 2 of these may be too much, but again, I've seen a lot of the games like the Warlock match we played where we're just running low on cards, and we need to keep constantly putting that pressure on our opponent and be able to deal with some of the stuff that they play. So running 2 of these, 3 extra cards is insane, especially if you can throw out the Emperor. So you like Tome, you play Emperor next turn, or your Emperor is already out, and then you Tome, you've discounted 3 more cards with Emperor. It's just a lot of value that this deck can pump out if your opponent can't deal with what you've laid down the turn previously. 2 Azure Drakes, these were once the Yogg Servants, I believe they're called. It's the 5-drop, 5/4, and it casts a random 5-drop or less. I found that while that card did it worked for me really well, it's just too inconsistent in the fact that it can play like Ancestral Communion on you just lose your entire hand, which basically, if you lose your entire hand on turn 5, you lose. Like, granted that you have 10 mana and you could probably draw on the Yogg the next turn, and by then you might have casted 3 spells and 3 Pyroblasts come out of Yogg. That's like in a once-in-a-lifetime situation that's ever going to work out. So I found the Azure Drakes are just really consistent. It keeps up the whole card draw, so you can keep that hand full, keep the tempo moving. It's a 4/4, and your spell damage gets +1, which again combos well with basically everything else in the deck that you've used so far, such as the Arcane Missiles, the Frostbolts, the Fireballs, and hopefully the spells you get from the Tome. Emperor Tharzan, this is kind of a weird card to play, as most tempo decks don't really play Tharzan unless you're playing I can't even think of a tempo deck that plays it. But anyway, I found it works really well because your hand has a lot of cards in it almost always. You'll have at least 3 to 4, maybe even 5 cards in your hand at all times. And if you can just keep discounting cards, especially Tome or what comes out of Tome, it's insane. The Faceless Summoner is an insane 6-drop. And summon a random 3-cost minion. So as the card's stats, and it's a 6-drop, aren't the best, what it brings out could potentially give you even more value. Like in the last game we saw it bring out a Flame Waker. Like, that is insane. For 6 mana you played a 5/5 and a 2/4. That's a 7/9. And it does 2 damage to random shit when you play spells. The Archmage is standard, the Rag is standard, and of course, because this is Yogg Mage Tempo Yogg Mage, the Yogg, of course, is in here, and we were lucky enough to pull out a gold Yogg from our packs that we opened. It was our only gold legendary that I had called out from the start. I just had that feeling that golden Yogg, man, we were gonna get it, and we did. So with that said, hopefully you've enjoyed the deck and deck guide thus far. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave those in the comment section below, as I like to read what you guys have to say about the deck, any improvements that you may have, that you've seen that would work well in the deck, along with how the deck works out for you if you decide on if you want to play it or not. So as always, guys, I just said that twice, I'm Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.